Welcome to the second video in this short series on questioning and listening. Now in this video, we're going to start looking at the key skills surrounding questioning and listening and how to use them with some specific focus on what we call open-ended questions. So in the last video, the shaving story highlighted to me the importance of not just asking a question, but listening carefully to the answer and then formulating your next question with the new information that's just been received. And this was the real art of what was actually going on in that previous conversation. Now, not all adults have lost the art of good questioning and listening. If you observe an investigator or a doctor, for example, they will always ask lots of questions and probe for more information once they have the answers to those questions. Now, many of us also fall foul of the hearing but not listening syndrome. And this is what happens when we hear something, but we're not really concentrating or actively listening to what's being said. We're simply letting the noise pass into our ears without registering it. And when you hear the words, you're obviously not listening to what was said. You've been in a hearing, not listening mode. So how can we get this wonderful gift that helps us to learn and discover more information that can be more useful? Well, it's like all behaviors. The more that you practice, the better you will get. So let's look at what you should be practicing and a few tips on how to get better at it. We'll build this training module around two elements: questioning and listening and funneling. So for questioning and listening, let us first start by quoting some words from a famous poem by Rudyard Kipling called 6 Honest Serving Men. It goes like this: I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why and when and how and where and who. Now, this poem gives us a little insight into how we learn. It highlights the use and possibilities we can open when we ask open questions. Questions that require more than a simple yes or no answer. Now, the first honest serving men in the poem is what? What questions help us clarify information and get to the heart of the matter? When we ask what questions, we're trying to understand what something is, what it means, or what it does. For example, what are the benefits of a plant-based diet? The second honest serving man is why. Now, why questions help us to understand the reasons behind something. They help us identify motives, intentions, and causes. So, for example, why did you decide to pursue a career in medicine? The third honest serving man is when. When questions help us to understand timeframes and events. They help us create a timeline and identify key moments. For example, when did you first become interested in computer science? The fourth honest serving man is how. How questions help us to understand processes and methods. They help us to identify steps and understand procedures. So, for example, or how do you make a cup of coffee? Or how do you shave? The fifth honest serving man is where. Where questions help us to understand locations and surroundings. They help us create a mental map and visualize spaces. So, for example, where did you go for your last vacation? And then the sixth and final honest serving man is who. Who questions, as you would expect, help us to identify people and their roles. They help us understand relationships and connections. So, for example, who inspired you to become an artist? Now that you know the 6 honest serving men, it's time to put them to work for yourself. So when you're engaged in a conversation, try to ask open-ended questions that begin with one of these 6 words. Open-ended questions invite people to share more information and encourage them to elaborate. So, for example, instead of asking, did you like the movie? You could ask, what did you think of the movie? The first question is closed-ended and requires only a yes or no answer. The second question is open-ended and invites the person to share their thoughts and feelings about the movie. Here's another example. Instead of asking, did you have a good day? You could ask, what was the best part of your day? Now, the first question is closed-ended and only requires a yes or no answer. The second question is open-ended and invites the person to reflect on their day and share their experience. Now, if you think about it, any question that begins with a what, a why, a when, a how, or who can never be answered with a simple yes or no answer. And so this is why we call them open questions. The opposite of an open question is a closed one, which by definition, this means that the response will only require a simple yes or no answer. Now, this does not necessarily mean that closed questions are not useful. For example, if you're selling a product and you ask, are you willing to buy this product today at the discounted price I've offered? If you get a yes response to this, then it's a pretty useful question to ask, right? Now, both open and closed questions can provide useful information, and so it's not an either use one or the other case, but if you need more information and you want to learn more, then open questions will tend to give you more information to work on. So remember that asking a great question is only half of what you need. Listening carefully to the answer and processing what you've just heard is just as important. So that's the end of this video. In the next video, we're going to look at that really important area of listening and responding to the questions that you've asked. So I'll see you very soon in the next video. Bye for now.